Got a half note in there. Paused at just the wrong second. A half note of the next song. All right. All right. How we doing, chat? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. That was from my credits capture of God of War for the review. Main theme is the second song after the other one that is probably going to be DMCA bait. So, oh yeah, that Game Awards medley for sure. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, seeing Xenoblade on that medley is cool. Um, Plague Tale being in that medley is very cool. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Pokemon is out in 2 days. So many Pokemon. Two big Pokemon games in 1 year. Thoughts on Game Awards knobs? It's hard. We'll probably put it on the podcast a little bit, but it's hard because we can't talk about what we nominated or what we're voting for. Um, but there are definitely some standout things that we've we've noticed. Some things in categories that were like, Triangle Strategy is not a strategy game. Okay, okay. I guess if that's the case. I will be in person at a Game Awards. First time I no well, first time at the Game Awards. Used to be in person at the VGAs every year, but the Spike VGAs. So that was always fun. Always good to see people. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's almost like a turn like it's weird because yeah, like obviously Tactics Ogre and Fire Emblem and Triangle Strategy are strategy RPGs. So it's like yeah, I get it, it's a judgment call, but it's like it's a strategy game first. You know, I don't know. Have I decided how I'm doing the podcast? Yeah, someone else will host. I'll put together most of the rundown. Um, and then chat says bless you. And then yeah, someone else will cover the Game Awards itself. So give it to Don from Max Chaos. Yeah, it'll probably be Brad. Could be somebody else, but it'll probably be Brad hosting. Just shocked out of all the games, Stray is in the running for Game of the Year. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think different. It's like different circles get hit different ways. Because in other ways that I could have seen Animal Crossing taking 2020 Game of the Year, right? Like maybe it's not the quote unquote best game, but it was a game that felt defining for that year. But even on those terms, I don't really see Stray on that level. But I don't know. Lots of different outlets from lots of different countries voting in on that. So Neon White snub for best soundtrack. Yeah, I need to. I remember liking the soundtrack in Neon White. I need to go back and listen to it some more. I'd like to play it some more. I never did like actually finished it. I did really want it to get into the racing game category, but I knew that was a long shot. Nobody else was going to do that. Uh, I should finish Neon White. Yeah, I probably should. There's a lot of games I should finish, like Elden Ring. Kirby soundtrack. I haven't heard too much of it. I have to play through Kirby too. Did I get the God of War Platinum? No, I haven't. finished God of War yet. Gabby's actually caught up to me now. Yeah. Oh, the yeah. The as the tweet says, I stayed up way too late. My plan was to go home and play more God of War. Instead, I went home and played more Arkanoid, which none of you will have the context for yet. But look forward to a fun, easy update. But yes, Arkanoid, the classic arcade game, recently had Arkanoid Eternal Battle come out, which I have on PC, and and the Eternal Battle thing, I still don't know what it's like. I imagine it's like Tetris 99, but every time I've gone to it, it's been like offline. It's been unavailable. But I think it's like 25 players playing Arkanoid at the same time. Yeah, so if you're blanking, Arkanoid is like Breakout or Alleyway. It is the one where you've got the paddle sliding back and forth on the bottom of the screen, and you're breaking the bricks, breaking those bricks. Um, so we played some for easy update. I've been back and forth on whether I should spoil what we do, but I think I will wait. I'm holding off. Um, but but that Arkanoid game, I wanted to play some more after I got home, and I messed around with a couple of different modes. But it has the classic arcade mode. It has a basically a modernized version with some different power ups, some new power ups. Um, and I could have gone home and played Goat Simulator 3 by myself, but Arkanoid is the one that got hooked to me. Oh, I also went back, now that there's a guide, I went back and finished off those Somerville achievements, because there's the last one. I mean, just like I I I put a lot of researching and piecing things together. Um, I flashed this up real quick because I don't want to spoil. Well, I don't want to show that either, but I don't want to spoil. But just quick flash of note taking. Um, for Somerville, I worked out a lot of stuff. Um, I did not figure it out, and looking at the guide, I don't know. I don't know how you got that answer. I don't know how they figured it out. Somebody will have to explain to me how you figured it out, because I don't know. So yeah, that was a weird one. But back to Arkanoid. So yeah, Arkanoid has a classic arcade mode. It has a new mode that has new power ups and such. Um, the um, it has a split screen multiplayer mode. It has the Eternal Battle that I mentioned, and I think I might have something else in there too. So it's a pretty good package. It may not be the price point some people want for sure. It could probably be a little earlier or a little cheaper. Um, but Arkanoid's a game I have on NES. I played it quite a bit as a kid. Um, but I had made this mistake of thinking that like okay, I'll just blast through this game real quick, and then I'll play the arcade version, and then I'll play through the new version, the Neo version, whatever it is. And I'm realizing that I probably have never done that before. It's a hard game. It's like trying to beat Tetris or Dr. Mario, although obviously Tetris doesn't really have an end. I guess some versions of Tetris have an end. Um, but it's classic arcade, even with unlimited continues without having to put quarters in on every level. It's a tricky game. Um, and so I like put a couple of hours into it, and I still haven't beaten it. I got to like level 15. It's wild to me to think of this as an arcade game. To think because I played mostly on NES, and I played some other ports that have come out along the years. Um, but the um, yeah, it's just it gets its hooks into you. And Tetris 99, uh, remember when achievements used to unlock game picks on Xbox 360? Arkanoid had that as a reward. That's fun. Um, yeah, I remember Tetris 99 getting its hooks into me much the same way. But yeah, Arkanoid got its hooks into me where I was just like, yeah, I'm just trying, like, not even worried about high score, just trying to beat it. But as an arcade game, it's hard for me to put myself in that place because it's like I'm at home, I have unlimited continues, I'm not spending quarters. I'm definitely not good enough to have gone to an arcade and like knocked this thing out in an hour or two. Call of the Sea had a puzzle to put me off the entire game. Yeah, that's the game I bounced off of. I didn't like that game as much as I thought it would be. But yeah, the arcade controls and all that. Um, so yeah, I didn't really get to experience it that way, and it was funny just like getting hooked on it last night. Just wanting to keep playing, wanting to get farther, and that is one thing that without having to put a quarter in, just like tap that continue button, tap the continue button, tap the continue, and just keep going. There's no there's not a countdown, but yeah, there's not a whole lot to stop you from just going another round very quickly. Did not order a PSVR 2. No. Um, Not something I was aware that those pre-orders were going up, but also crossing my fingers hoping we'll get one sent to us for review. But yeah, that's something I can put the cash down on at the moment. So hopefully they do. Hopefully we'll be on that list. We'll do an unboxing or something. Hmm. How much money do I think I would have spent on this new Arcanine? So that's the thing that's funny about it is, it is the, um, you know, the reviewer's privilege of being able to get games like because I wouldn't have like I just not that I don't think it's worth the money. I wouldn't have taken the time. But then it's like, oh, I have Arkanoid. I love Arkanoid. I'll go play it. uh, but yeah, I do want to talk up the arcade mode though because it's got a nice aesthetic to it. The Because it is just a classic emulation of that arcade game. But they've got you can see the cabinet, and you can see the controller and stuff. I don't think the controller moves, but it's sort of in there. But then you can also around the cabinet, you can see other cabinets and stuff in the arcade, um, and you can hear like background noise of people chattering or whatever, and music. There's like just music floating, like music playing in the background here and there. Um, that's really, it's not like clear music. It's like echoey and processed and stuff like that. And I really, it could be done wrong. It could be annoying, but it actually really puts me in the vibe. It really feels good. So props to whoever made that that context for the arcade mode because it's really cool. I really like it. Goblin Slayer stopping by to say, enjoying the content a lot lately. Thanks to you and the rest of the boys and girls for keeping me entertained. Nice, thank you. Yeah, yeah, it's been good. We've had a good run, a good Q4 so far. Working on a whole lot of stuff. Um, oh yeah, certainly City's looking up Arkanoid now to see what it's like. There was an Arkanoid cabinet that I got similarly obsessed with in Life is Strange True Colors in the bar. And this might be why I thought I could do it. Because the Arkanoid cabinet in Life is Strange True Colors is not the original game. It is a later sequel called like Arkanoid: The Battle of Doe, And I I think in Life is Strange, I hadn't played that game before, but I think I did beat it in Life is Strange. So I think that's why going back to the original, I was like, oh yeah, I can beat this. What's crazy? So one of the things that with that game, yes, it's a block breaker paddle game, but um, when you break blocks, you get power ups, right? So you get a power up that makes your paddle sticky. You get a power up that gives you a multi ball. You get a power up that makes your paddle turn into a spaceship. Well, I guess it's technically a spaceship, anyways. But it gives you guns, and you can shoot away a lot of the bricks. Um, you can make your paddle longer. A lot of different things like that. There's even some that will give you an extra life, and some that will just like give you a warp straight out to the next stage. So those power ups only come from the colored bricks. And in a way, you kind of end up, it's kind of like the relief. It's kind of, that's the thing you rely on a little bit. You have to be careful not to chase the power ups too hard. Arkanoid is Taito, yes. Because you can go for a power up and then miss the ball coming back down. But something like a multi ball can do a lot. Something like those guns can do a lot of work. And when you get into these higher levels, I think it's like level 11 or something, um, they they have a stage where there are no colored bricks. They're all these gray metal bricks that don't give you any power ups, and they're in like this tight like group of like concentric circles. Thank you, Ritz 1906. Um, and that one was a tricky one. That was the one I was stuck on for quite a while, because I didn't have it. Basically, I didn't have a cheat. I didn't have any power ups to like knock my way through that stage. And those metal ones you have to hit multiple times. And so it was just like trying to get the ball knocked up at an angle to where it would bounce up to the top and then stay on top as long as possible, which in itself is its own hazard because then once it finally comes back down, it's going very fast and you are not ready. But yeah, so I stayed up too late playing Arkanoid last night. Finished Somerville, played Arkanoid. Didn't do anything else, really. Um, but didn't even really look through emails. Uh, Brief touch base with Ben, but not enough to tell you anything. He's doing great. That's what he told me. He needed me to help him with something real quick. So I told him I'd take care of that, and then asked how he's doing, and he said he's doing great. So I need a real chat, but just to know, Ben is doing well. Um, did they ever combine Arkanoid and Space Invaders? They probably have. Uh, there is a Space Invaders shaped set of bricks in one of the levels in Arkanoid for sure. Um, yeah, but yesterday was also a really long day for shoots. I put we moved Grounded to Tuesday so that we could get Huber in the mix. Um, but it makes for a long Tuesday because I thankfully had the foresight to go get groceries and set up the multi-stream stuff the night before. Um, but yeah, I came in, got everything set up. We did Grounded for almost 3 hours, and then we shot a thing that you probably won't see for another month or more. Yeah, yeah, we've had a lot of things that we're shooting that like are in the back burner, in the wings. Um, so it'll be fun to have that stuff roll out through the holidays, so that we don't have quite as much of a dead zone this year. Um, and then yeah, the multicam setup has been going pretty smoothly. Yeah, in terms of there's not like been anything to like mess up anyone's screens or screens freezing or anything like that. So yeah, that Elgato card has been nice on that. I just have to go in and like do all that wiring because it's not something we can just have permanently in place. It's a lot of stuff like borrowing the the wire that usually goes from the PC to the main TV and just we got tables in places where they don't belong and extra monitors. I take one of Don's monitors. So Don's stuck editing on one monitor. Um, Got to dip into the wire budget. I mean, it's not really about dipping into like it's just we have the wires that we need, so there's not a need to get extra wires, and there's not a need to have all those wires set up all the time because then it's just like giant tripping hazard, anyways. Um, yeah, I prefer to have fewer wires set up at any given time. Um, but did grounded, shot a thing. Um, while we were shooting a thing, you were streaming Vampire Survivors. Miyamoto's 70. Oh man, that guy's got to retire. It's time to retire. Take a happy retirement. Spend some years away from work. You've earned it. I'm sure he may not be doing as much these days, but anyways. Yeah, he's not directing a game or anything like that. He's supervising everybody. He's probably got some hands in that Pikmin, but um yeah, we shot. Oh yeah, and so after the first thing that we shot that won't go up for a while, we shot another thing that will actually go up this weekend with the Arkanoid that I just told you about for easy update. And then Red Sky, thank you for that sub. And then we did Goat Simulator, and then we did 2 Trash Baby episodes, and then I cleaned up all of my multi-stream mess and did some vacuuming and tried to vacuum the green screen to get the cat hair off of it, but that didn't really work. So I'm gonna have to get Don to like go take that to a laundromat or something. Get the cat hair out of there. Um, any reviews in the pipeline? Yeah, Bayonetta's coming. Um, I am not sure whether we're still gonna review Gotham Knights or not. I need to check in on Huber, see what he thinks about that. Um, I think the other things we're gonna be reviewing might not be in. We're not gonna be reviewing Modern Warfare 2. We've done some streams. We'll probably do something on Frame Trap, but not a review. I'm trying to see what we've got in the can right now. Give me a minute. Tactics Ogre I don't think is going to be a review. I think that's just going to be like a discussion video or a Frame Trap thing. Probably a Frame Trap thing. Because we didn't get it early. And Brad was on other things. Pentiment will probably be on Frame Trap. Part of me is wishing I had played that instead of Somerville, but I probably wouldn't have gotten through all the way. I wouldn't have time to gotten through all the way through Pentiment. Ghost Simulator 3 obviously was the stream, and I don't know what I would do with that in terms of a review. It's intentionally janky. Yeah, and so I think Bayonetta and maybe Gotham Knights. But I'm not sure about Gotham Knights even. The other stuff we will be waiting on. Midnight Suns. Yeah, we're gonna do something with Midnight Suns, but I think that's another one we probably won't actually review. But we definitely want to check it out. Yeah, Pokemon is one that I think we'll probably try to get some kind of discussion video on. We'll see as those come in. I think Brad and Damiani will probably be the ones that end up playing that a little bit. But yeah, I don't think that they're going to do a full review on that one. Multifaceted reasons on that. Damiani could definitely review Pokemon, but I think yeah, neither one of them feel like super interested in doing that. I know Brad doesn't feel super qualified doing that, although I have confidence that he could if we had to. Um, and then yeah, it's coming at launch, and it's a big RPG that'll take a couple of weeks, and yeah, it's just one that we'll probably find other ways to cover it, for sure. Yeah, so Huber linked me to that thing with the Nintendo Powers, and it wasn't up last night. So people were talking like it had been taken down, but was it just getting slammed? 'Cause I didn't know what the situation was with that thing. But when I looked, it wasn't there. Um, I am curious if it's just a bunch of um, yeah, the site is broken. It's probably overwhelmed. Yeah, I thought it was probably a traffic thing. Um, I'm curious whether it will somehow be searchable. I'm guessing it isn't. Um, but yeah, if somebody had like a text guide that could also tell you what this is honestly something I did as a kid. I had like a spreadsheet um, where I was it even a spreadsheet? It was simple. It was like MS DOS days. Um, but I had a document that every Nintendo Power I would for every game put what. So basically, yeah, I'd have a list of games, and I would have an episode, issue, not episode, issue number, and a page number for every game. Um, archive.org is back up now. Cool. And so that way, if I needed to find out something about a game, I could go to my little document, my little index, and then I could go to that issue of Nintendo Power and look it up. So let me take a look at Sarah's message. It does look like it's back up. Yeah, look at this. Okay. Some of the covers aren't showing, but they are there. Um, it also looks like they're not displayed in order, but that's cool, fine. Oh yeah, full scans. I don't know if Nintendo will care or if they will shut this down, but this is great. Now I would just need somebody to tell me where certain games are. I will need to consult a Nintendo Power expert. Um, because like stuff that is like particularly if they did any sort of like background stuff on development or like interviews with developers, which didn't happen a whole lot in Nintendo Power. Like Nintendo Power was largely a preview slash guide focused publication, right? But yeah, they would have even in those previews they would have times when they would talk about something. So, for instance, the question like one of the questions I've had, is where could I find like an interview or a good quote from somebody that's like, hey, this is where we came up with Wario and why we came up with Wario for Super Mario Land 2, like stuff like that. Like when did you just because we've heard some of those stories about like Yoshi, right? And you've heard some of the stories behind Mario's design and then eventually getting his name and sort of conflicting stories about that stuff. It's like, oh, it's named after the landlord, and then other people dispute that or whatever. Um, but Wario's one that I'm not 100% sure. Like I've heard some things, but I don't have like a primary source um, that I could reference. So it'd be fun to see that. the G4 Icons episode about Wario or about the Mario warehouse landlord? Because if G4 did Icons about Wario, that would be hilarious. The Mario origin story. Okay. Mm-mm. I do have a few copies of Nintendo Power with me. The rest are at my mom's, but I don't know that they're what kind of condition they're in because I don't think they've been like specifically stored. Like I think they might have been put like in a garage or something where they're not necessarily gonna hold up. But I'd have to take a look and see what they're like. Um, but yeah, the archive.org. Yeah, I could probably go to the year and start whittling my way through if I really wanted to. Damiani has some for sure. But yeah, I brought like a selection of key issues or whatever with me at some point after I moved out here. Yeah, I'm sure Damiani has a ton of them. I don't know if he has a full set. I never really caught up. I did at one point go back and like order earlier issues than when I started, but I never like filled the gap for back orders. But I was really, really like obsessively into collecting them as much as I could. I just didn't have the cash. If I had the cash, I would have gotten them all. Um, but I don't know once I got older if I would have kept up with it in the later years because I did not. I don't remember when I actually ended my subscription. Yeah, I don't know. Would have been. I'm guessing it would have been 98 when I stopped, but maybe I got some later too. I remember. Wait, I remember getting Next Gen magazine though, moving to California, so maybe I was still getting them into 2000s. I do remember the first issue I got was Mega Man 3. That was the first one that came in the mail, and the NES Game Atlas, which is basically in tatters. I have all the pages. They just come out very easily. Yeah, Screaming Argonaut saying the same thing about the Super Mario Brothers 3 guide. What issues do I still have with me? I don't know off the top of my head. I think there's like a Donkey Kong Country issue. I think I might have the Link's Awakening issue with the gold cover. I haven't looked at them for a little bit, so I don't know off the top of my head. But I've probably got a dozen or a couple dozen. Not a ton of them, for sure. Because for the longest time, I didn't even have a place to put them. Longest time, I was just living in rooms, uh, tiny bedrooms with a bunch of roommates. What else is happening, chat? What else is happening? Oh, if you have not already done it, get in on that love and respect post on Patreon for the $5 tier. The humming to repress trauma, no, just humming to think. Yeah, the adventures of Don Romantica have begun. This week, we're going on a shopping trip. I'm going to have to do math and figure out prices, but that's my job. The rest of you guys submit things that we're going to be buying. Um, so yeah, weapons and armor and accessories are what's on the list for this week's things. Yeah, and I have to also have to figure out like what kind of limitations because like okay, do I want to make sure that they buy some kind of armor? Because these guys, they've clearly leaned into min maxing. So I've got to find ways to encourage them to not just like, here, get this big sword and leave everything else at the shop. So I might have to make a rule that they're gonna have to buy at least one thing from every shop. um, haven't totally decided on that yet or not, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I also am probably gonna keep the specific stats secret until they buy something, which is entirely against buying anything in any RPG. But I think that they'll be able to sniff out um, essentially what a certain thing will favor. Needs convincing lore. Yeah, hopefully. Um, but yeah, but I've got a basic structure planned out for the next few weeks. I don't have like specifics written, but it's like, okay, this week we're gonna do this, and then I'll write it out. This week we're gonna do that, and I'll write it out, and then um, take us through to the end of the year. I will have to figure out a bunch of them in the same week though, because um, we're gonna have to like shoot 3 episodes in one week because we'll have to because we'll be out for a couple of weeks, so we'll have to have um, like a normal episode and then a love and respect episode and then one other episode in the same day that I have not worked out what it's going to be yet. Are we getting Ore Wars this year? I mean, that comes down. I have to do the math on that too, but that comes down to the bets, and the bets are neck and neck right now. I don't know if the bets have ever been this neck and neck, um, to where we're even score, just in November. So I'll have to do the math on when to call it for a team, but we might run it up to the last minute. It might only have Ore Wars in the final 2 episodes. We'll see. Brad's been on a streak though. Having that new sign off every week. It's great. We just have to get Damiani to nudge over on camera. Damiani's gone completely off camera. Have there been enough Harvestella reviews yet? I haven't looked this week. I'm gonna guess that there have been, but let's find out. Somerville's down to 72 on OpenCritic. Uh, that's one I was like nervous about, just being in a vacuum. He was like, I'm not feeling this. A whole bunch of people gonna come up and try to talk about this like it's game of the year. Oh, Harvestella now is up to 22 reviews. I'm gonna guess at least 10 of those are English, so we will be able to call that bet this week. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things is um, having a game like Somerville where there are optional puzzles you haven't finished, but the game is not out yet, and you don't know anyone who else is playing it. And you don't know if anyone else is having the issues that you're having with it. And you just writing a script. Here are my thoughts on this game. And there it is. Day one Metacritic, I nailed it. So it's funny because it should never be the goal, but somehow it always feels good to put that review out in the void and then see, oh, okay, got it. I actually got it. Yeah, Pentiment is longer, so that's the thing. Somerville is a game where like even if it were a little bit worse, it would still like if you want to play it, it's like 3.5 to 4 hours. Um, Not counting the optional stuff, which at this point I'm like maybe just do a guide because I don't know how you're supposed to arrive. I mean, it was fun. I will say it was fun figuring out um, the basics of how you're supposed to arrive at those answers, but I still like I learned things and it was fun, but it's frustrating to have not been able to like bring that to a close on my own. And that was one of the things that was killing me with like going and writing that script. I actually played Somerville 3 times, um, not counting extra going back to different chapters. Um, and yeah, just I would just felt like I had not gotten closure, and that's sort of why I had to bring up the ending in the review. It's like, yeah, this is not particularly satisfying way to finish the game. And in general, I do like it, obviously. Just the ending in particular and some other little thing. There was another thing that I had missed for an achievement to where it was just like, oh, if I push directly onto this wall, it looks like a dead end, but if I kind of push to an angle, then I can shimmy, and just visually, it didn't read for me. I had messed around in that spot, and I didn't. I knew there had to be something there, but I didn't push my controller in the right angle and didn't know. Can we get the episode numbers back for the podcast? The episode numbers are in the description every week, but it's too much. I can't put episode numbers and a date and uh, a headline in that title. It's just a bit too much. Um, I and they are on the podcast services. They're not on YouTube, but they're on the podcast services. They show the numbers. Yeah, it's literally the first thing in the description before you get to the actual text of the description. But yeah, and that's something I don't know if some of you have noticed that I played around with, and I couldn't spot a difference. Is sometimes I would have like I went like a month where I put the Easy Allies podcast first in the title, and then I went back to putting the headline first in the title, and none of those things appeared to make a difference. Obviously, the thing that makes the difference is, whatever the big headline is, right? So if we're talking about Silent Hill, people are going to watch the podcast. If, you know, we're talking about a VR headset, um, not as many people. So slow weeks are weird. They're tricky to deal with. I think we still have fun conversations, but you have to get people in the door first. And that's been the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to go back and look at when the podcast was doing better numbers, and it's like all we did was like basically put plain text, the Easy Allies podcast, and the date on the thumbnail and the title. So I don't know. The rules don't work for us. The things that are supposed to make things more popular don't work, and the things that are not supposed to work, we're perfectly fine. I've got a bunch of old reactions that never got thumbnails on them from 2016. They're some of the biggest content on our channel. They don't have thumbnails. It's just auto YouTube thumbnail. Have I checked how the total numbers shake out with live viewers versus YouTube views? The live viewers don't seem to impact it too much. So far, um, there's no clear sign that they really have yeah, altered what the view counts are on YouTube or anything. Um, I'm not sure, how many people are wanting to like tune in for the live podcast, but I think it's also a matter of just like having people get used to it and all that stuff. I think it no matter what, it's good to have it there and be on the channel and potentially, you know, attract some people that watch that kind of stuff on Twitch who maybe aren't always into watching direct games. So, but it's been good. I think it's good. I think it's something that we want to keep doing. And yeah, it's the middle of the night for the EU, which is true. Um, I don't know if I get the podcast done any faster. I kind of rely on those Thursday headlines. So, but still getting up the early access as soon as I can. What am I looking forward to? Need for Speed is definitely one of those games. Like not super hyped on it, but changing teams, doing all this new art style. Um, it feels like there's, um, yeah, it feels like they're trying to do something new and fresh. It's still Need for Speed, very clearly, but I'm hoping that they've learned some lessons, and I think that the people they have working on that game now can put out a really good game. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see what this new team knocks out, basically, because it's now just mishmash of old Criterion and old Ghost games and old Codemasters slash Evolution people that probably worked on Onrush and Dirt 5 in there. So it's crazy. It's crazy to think about what are they going to do? How are they going to contribute to Need for Speed? Did I see Phil Spencer's interview on the Verge's Decoder podcast? No, I don't know what that's about. I didn't see much yesterday, and I have not seen anything today. Um, what's the takeaway? Why should I know about that? Vincius Tsukune, thank you. Definitely worth. Okay, chat's hyping up this Phil Spencer interview. Maybe make a note of it. Is it about Activision Blizzard stuff or other stuff? What's happening there? More about the Activision Blizzard acquisition? Mostly some good pull quotes, I see. Okay. May not be a thing for the podcast, but we'll see. I've definitely, yeah, as a host, I've definitely kind of, I veered away from the beat by beat of these long trailing stories where it's like, oh, this week, this person sued Activision for sexual harassment. Oh, this week, somebody else sued them for sexual harassment. And it's just like, I understand raising awareness, but it's like some point there's just nothing to say about it. It's just another like drip in the bucket of the same gigantic story. And the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger is the same kind of thing. It's like one regulator does this thing one week, Phil says a thing this week, PlayStation says a thing the next week, and it doesn't really feel like it's moving the needle in terms of conversation. And that's something I'm really like trying as much as I can to pick things that we could actually talk about. So rather than just say like, "Hey, we checked that thing off of the list this week." Whew. He said their streaming box isn't out yet because of price. Interesting. Yeah, that's yeah. Now that thing is interesting. Um, I think Xbox is the best poised to do something like that for sure, especially now that Stadia is out of the picture. I haven't seen our Stadia refunds yet. Google, give us our money back. It's actually it's amazing to me that they're giving everyone their money back. This is not required. Giving me money back for 2-year-old controllers. I can use that controller on PC. I probably won't, but I can. He wants to get the box plus controller to around $100 to $130. Okay. Yeah, I mean, start with dropping the price on those controllers, man. There's no battery. You got no motion. Like, why do your Xbox controllers cost so much? The controller Bluetooth doesn't work? Oh, the fact that yeah, Google can afford to refund everybody that bought Stadia games and hardware. Yeah, that's nuts. It's nuts. I'll take the money though. I'll take that money back. We need it. We need it more than Google, apparently, and clearly. Have I listened to any of Sonic Frontier's soundtrack yet? Um, Not distinctly in that sense. I watched a like a behind the scenes video of a recording for some of the kind of like world music, the more orchestrated stuff, and I heard a song that was in one of the supersonic battles that Brad had for the review, which we couldn't use in a review, unfortunately, because of the restrictions. Um, but that song was wild. That song was going for it. That song is like, yeah, it's funny because in a lot of ways, Sonic is pretty just kind of like all audiences, right? Like anybody from any walk of life, all over the world, like a Mickey Mouse, like a Mario, like a Minions. But then when you get into like these supersonic battles, it just goes full anime. It just goes hard line right into that niche. Oh, and so anime fans loving it, I'm sure. Everybody else is like, what is happening? Ever notice visual similarity between Nazca and Super Metroid? Um, sure. Also Final Fantasy. Um, Chocobos. Can't tell me that didn't come from Nazca. Can't tell me. And there's a lot of airship things too. Not the Final Fantasy airships, but like Chrono Trigger airships kind of remind me of Nazca airships. Giant bugs make their way around. Oh yeah, yeah. The giant bugs like in Brinstar. Very, very Nazca. 100%. Um, and they have the yeah, the bird in there. Yeah, they have that bird in there too. But that bird is not as much like the Nazca bird. The Edakun isn't really like Teto. I think Teto is the name of her little fox-like friend. Ever read the Nazca manga? Yeah, I did. It's been a long time. Um, about maybe 20 years now. little over 20 years was when I got it. But yeah, I got the full set of that manga and read through it, and so yeah, it's really cool because there's just so much more that happens after the events of the movie. But off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what those things are. But it's yeah, they're very nice complimentary pieces for sure. But yeah, Teto. Uh, I think they took Eevee. Eevee in Pokemon is very much Teto in a lot of ways. But yeah, the movie itself will always have a very special place for me. Um, but yeah, go back and read that manga sometime would be nice. Broshuro says, I heard the sole reason the manga was made was because he was told anime needs to be based on manga. I had not heard that one. I will take that with a grain of salt, but that's funny. Hi, Frosty Mug. Yeah, we just chatting. Hope you have a good day too. Sarah Knight says it's true. And that's what led to Studio Ghibli, because they just wanted to follow their own rules. Nice. Yeah, like I said, we got a lot of stuff in the works, in the can, getting cut. Um, Isla has a lot to cut. Don's been cutting a lot of things. Um, I feel like we've been saying "Achieve It Yourself" season 4 has been coming on the way forever, but it's true. It is coming. It is on the way. Um, and then the thing after that is on the way. That arcade travelogue is on the way. We got to make time for Brad to do that Gundam stream. I don't know when that's going to happen, but we need to do that. Talent show is coming up. I don't know what my talent is. Most terrifying thing of the whole bunch. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I literally am just like completely blank. Every time I come back to it, I'm still completely blank. So I don't know. Really, really, I'm gonna have to think about what the heck I'm gonna do in that talent show. Edit a review script live. Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. Cause in my head, I'm just a loose cannon. I'm just yelling at people when I talk. I will say things out loud. It's like I'll just yell at the script. Nobody else needs to see that. Do some magic. But I don't always yell at the script. And sometimes, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, it wouldn't fit the talent show. If I ever did somehow record myself editing somebody else's review, it would absolutely um, not be on something like that where there's a time limit because I can't do it in a time limit. I mean, obviously we have to hit a deadline, but it's like sometimes, just like the writer, I'll come across a thing and I'm like, I know what he's trying to say, but I don't. There's a better way to say this, and I don't know what it is yet. And then I have to like go and like ask questions, follow up. It's like, okay, what about this? What happens when you do this and this and that and this? And it's like, okay, how about we say this? They're like, no. Like, okay, how about we say this? Like, okay, okay. And then we finally get to something that makes sense. Um, so yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know if I would want to do that process. I understand it could be cool, but I don't know that I would want to do it. Can I eat 20 burgers? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not a fast eater. I'm not good at wolfing things down. Very slow eater. Could do another wrap. No, it's okay. I did have an idea, but of course I'm not going to spoil it. So I did have an idea. Could be fun, could be nothing. I don't know. Design a new robot master. I think I did send something into Nintendo Power along those lines at one point. I feel like I had to have. See, that's the thing, chat. So we take taking photos of things for granted now, right? Well, just like I know I have photos on my phone right now of stuff from the grocery store, right? Because I'll be at the grocery store and like, hey, they don't have this thing. Do you want this thing? Take a photo, send it. But like it took phones to like do that for us to like take a photo of everything, have it. Um, and so like there's like artwork that I did for Nintendo Power, envelope art and that kind of thing. And never crossed my mind to take a photo of that art. Like without my like signature or something on it, I don't know that even if my I came across my envelope art like in a wall in Nintendo's offices or something, like I'm not even 100% sure I would like totally recognize it. Um, but yeah, because when we were taking photos, you you would take a photo and then you would have to, you know, go through the whole roll of film and then you drop it off, wait for it to come back, pay for it. And I took a whole I remember I took a whole bunch of like the high score photos, tried to follow the instructions that Nintendo said and all this stuff, and I just would come back with like dozens of blurry shots. No idea what I was doing. Because again, you didn't even know what you got until you got it developed. And you could have gotten it developed like a couple months later because you didn't want to you wanted to get through the whole roll of film or whatever. So yeah, the Nintendo Power submissions and envelope art and stuff don't have a lot of that. There was some stuff later on where I think I had access to a scanner when scanners were kind of basically new, that I might have scanned. No, I remember what it was. There was something that I had drawn and sent to Nintendo Power that I took into like a Staples or something and got like a color copy of it. I think that's one of the few things that I ended up doing. Where like you were like creating like yeah, submitting like a whole like video game in 20 years kind of thing. Um, and looking back, I don't remember my entire pitch, but it was like I was basically describing the pitch for Fable, which even Fable didn't pull off. Just this whole persistent world idea where the things that you do are remembered and you come back to them, etc., etc., etc. I don't remember all the details, but it's very much an RPG kind of thing. Because I was all about them RPGs. Still am a lot. I just don't have the time to play as many as I would like. Didn't finish Soul Hackers 2. Bounced off of that. But I'm also okay with that. Like, okay, I got my fill on Soul Hackers 2. It's alright. Good game. Alright, it's afternoon. I'm going to call it. We've got stuff happening coming up today. We've got Dawn versus Wave Race in the Aquadome with the fog. Chat, that fog. The fog is. I don't know if it's a health hazard, but it is something to walk into, I'll tell you. Yeah, I understand. Even as someone who does not have any kind of asthma or anything. Man, that fog, it'll make you cough. Then Trash Babies. Yeah, we shot those last night. Some wild ones. Some wild ones. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the first one was now. Remember the second one. But you'll see it tomorrow. You'll see Trash Babies tomorrow. Don's doing a hangout tomorrow at noon. So keep that in mind. A little slightly later for Don. He likes to do the noon time slot. Stream team, behind the scenes shooting of the podcast. And then Friday, we got that full playthrough of The Devil in Me, the last chapter of this arc of the Dark Pictures anthology, right? So, I don't know anything about that game. That's how I like to do it. It's so hard. It's so hard when I like have to explain to PR about these games because they're like, "Hey, do you guys want to, you want to code? You want to do a review?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but we're not going to review it. We don't want to come to a preview event and do hands-on. We don't want to see your game until we play the game together in a group with a bunch of pizza and sodas and headphones and yelling at each other and trying to get people to do our choices and making grudges." But yeah, the quarry was a bit of a miss, but the quarry had a rocky development cycle, I believe. So, the last Dark Pictures game before that, House of Ashes, was pretty good. So I'm hoping that the A team at Supermassive is on The Devil in Me. But anyways, Don's hangout is the Sideburn Symposium, so make sure you tune in. Yep, there it goes. All right, friends, I'm gonna close it out. Thank you. Tune in to Don a little bit later, and I'll see you soon.